this evening, we're excited to bring you coverage of all the action from iRacing's virtual Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you all the action for all types of racing with the Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside with the booth tonight is Nick Stein with DJ Line working the controls as our producer. DJ's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Drivers are in the midst of preparations for tonight's action, but it's been an interesting season so far, to say the very least. Nick, we get ready to get very tricky from the last great Coliseum here tonight.
Oh yeah, Bristol is just one of those rough and tumble racetracks, and these guys are definitely going to have a challenge in store tonight with how difficult this track can be, especially with the Xfinity cars. So I'm expecting a very interesting race from these guys, and it's all yet to be seen with how this is all going to play out, because these guys it's such a big challenge here at Bristol Speedway.
Drivers are already making their way towards the starting grid for tonight's action. 10 competitors have made their way to the racetrack tonight for 150 laps or an hour and 50 minutes, whatever comes first here tonight. In turn, let's see how the drivers fared out in qualifying. And they have a surprise for tonight, because the driver who starts on the outside front row is one with eNASCAR experience. Jake Ennis will start on the pole, but it's Jake Matheson who starts off alongside in that 99 Carl Edwards throwback. Then it's Matt Haas in the third spot and Sam Bowen in fourth, the points leader for the season. Seven Hawthorne starts off fifth with Dylan Benson in sixth. Then it is Grayson Barker in seventh and eighth, Leonard and Devine, your top 10 for this evening. The difference between the pole time in the back of the field about 7/10 of a second. So real quickly, as we get set for today's action, let's talk about Bristol. These drivers getting ready for a challenging one here tonight. Not a lot of laps when you think about it. How would you fare out here tonight when you talk about the strategy?
Yeah, it's going to be about survival tonight. These guys just need to survive. There's going to be some tire saving involved if we do happen to get that far under green flag racing, but it's just about survival at Bristol. That is the key to every race you will ever do here, whether it be official, leagues, anything. You just got to survive, and of course, you got to watch the fuel as well. Fuel will become a factor tonight. These guys aren't going to be able to do all 150 laps on fuel. We may see some people try to do a lot longer of a stint, kind of like what we saw from Matt Haas at Rockingham, but I don't expect anyone to make it very far if they are going to try that, but it should be interesting to see what people will do.
Time to find out how things go here tonight for Bristol Motor Speedway. About a half mile of the track distance. 10 competitors ready to get racing. Again, this is Touring Kart Championship Racing. We're underway from Bristol.
Already you're seeing...
Yes, indeed. A good start for Matheson already, Nick.
I was just getting ready to say, already you're seeing how dominant that outside line can be. If you get a good restart on that middle line, there is no stopping you. As we already have one spinning, that's a 13, and a couple other cars involved with that. That was Colin Gray, Sam Boland. Can't quite catch who that was in the back. I think that may be the 99 of Christian Barker.
Dampers flared already. Caution flag is out. Dylan Benson getting loose on cold tires, getting into Sam Bowen. And the Jack Dow Motorsports machine with significant amount of damage. Also contact from Christian Barker in that. Remember, 2 fast repairs available in this series. Looks like already at least one having to be used here.
Yeah, for sure. Not Colin Gray, excuse me. Sam Boland's definitely going to have to use one. He pounded the outside wall there, and then he got hit really hard by the 99 of Christian Barker right at the end of that. So it looks like that 13 of Sam Boland, looks like they may have tried to go 3 wide for just a moment there off of turn 2. Looks like everyone thought better of it, but the 41 maybe getting a little bit loose coming up off of turn number 2 here. Yep, and that's exactly what it was. 41 on cold tires just got on that bump in turn 1, and things just went sideways from there in multiple different ways.
And because of that contact and turn, already 6 different cars coming to pit road. And we aren't even 5 laps into the action. Hawthorne amongst those coming in. Devine, Grace, Leonard, Bowen, and Barker all getting repairs done. Of note, Benson did not come down to the pit lane with the caution period. But let's talk about the season as a whole coming into tonight. terms of the point standings, we touched upon this a little bit. When it comes to Sam Bolin entering the evening, he had a victory as well as 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s coming into this evening's festivities. The 99 machine has also been one of the regulars throughout the season and picked up a fair amount of cushion over Christian Leonard with that, how the performance has been going. Here's the 19 for reference.
Yeah, the 13 is Sam Bolin. He's been kind of a up-and-comer of sorts because we really didn't see him much in the first couple of races at Daytona, and I believe it was Las Vegas after that. But he's really come into fruition after Vegas is where he really hit his stride this season. He picked up, I believe he picked up a win at Rockingham and Las Vegas as well. So that 13 machine is definitely a quick one and a fast car to watch tonight, as he's going to have to come through the field starting in 10th position tonight. But if anyone could come through the field and have a really good finish to extend that points lead, it's that 13 of Sam Bolin.
So the 13 currently, Munzel's trying to warm up their tires. Matheson's up at front. Lights are out on the iRacing pace car. About to start lap 7 already. The entire field still in the race after the fast repairs used. Jake Matheson of the New England region, a former eNASCAR driver from 2021. Leads it to the green, back underway. Matheson already clear. A clean launch once again. Matheson this time able to pick up a couple car lengths. Amongst several trying to use the bottom to save the tires early.
Yeah, that bottom's going to be really popular until we hit about lap 75, 80 kind of area. That's when we're going to see guys start to move up a little bit and use the wall, so to speak, and try to get the car to turn a little bit, as we're seeing a battle here between the 41 and the 8. That's the 8 of Matt Haas on the top with the 41 of Dylan Benson to his inside. It looks like that bottom's not really working for the 41 of Benson, so he may want to think about moving up here and maybe trying to get a little bit of more turn out of that car. And here's Sam Bolin. Of course, he was involved in that first caution. He's already back up into 8th position here in that 13 machine. Gonna go ahead and use the bottom here, try to get under Colin Grace for just a moment, but looks like Colin Grace has that launch off the corner.
Early in the 8th position right now is Bolin. For reference, he's running 15.5s. The leaders are running 15.2s up at the point. And starting to see a bit of a queue form up, a little bit of a checkup. In fact, that's Christian Leonard, who had to check up a little bit, getting loose in the middle of turn 2. Another spin. It's Bolin who spins it. No caution yet as Bolin's at the edge of the racetrack and going backwards in turn 4.
Looks like there will not be a caution for this, as he's going to get it back going off of the racing surface, but you see right behind him, that's the leaders coming up on him. It's the Jake and Jake show up front. That's Matheson in the 99 and then Jake Innes in the 25 right behind him. These two have been the fastest. They have been the class of the field so far tonight. Both in practice and in qualifying, both drivers were well over a 1/10 of a lap faster than third place Matt Haas right now. So yeah, these guys definitely going to be fighting it out for looks like top honors tonight between the two Jakes.
Now keep in mind, a lot of fanfare for Matheson, even with his first start of the season coming here tonight, because of the eNASCAR experience and because, of course, picking up honors like being the Seacook Speedway Legends champion a couple times, being up there in terms of points in All-Star Series in the past. But when it comes to Ennis, keep in mind, he's a very young driver, still in his teens, in fact, and a mini stock racer from Riverhead Raceway. Both of them short track racers. When it comes to Ennis, based out of Long Island, New York, Jakester continuing to showcase he is comfortable on the top line compared to Matheson, using the comfortability of an experience on the bottom.
This is a battle of experience right now. Both of these, as you said, experienced in real life racing, but you also got to look at the 99 of Matheson. He would have had to go through the eNASCAR Contender Series, which uses the Xfinity car when he did have his eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series experience a few years ago. So Matheson is definitely an experienced cookie when it comes to the Xfinity car, and it looks like Jake Innes is very experienced as well when it comes to this car, as he's been a pretty well front runner when it comes to this league in the TKC Consulting Series. As right now, this is the 57 and the 99. That's Christian Barker. He was wanting to get to the inside of the 57 of Brandon Devine, as Devine's trying to run that top line and kind of run that wall just a little bit. Doesn't really seem to be working for the 57 right now, as he just looks like a very uncomfortable race car right now.
Take a look at some of the air battles forming up around the racetrack meanwhile. Divine is amongst those trying to, well, from what understanding, knock the walls down and see if that helps find speed. Maybe 5 years ago, not in this era.
Nah, he's just trying to tell the track promoters where they need to put the wall next year. That's all he's doing. Come on now. He's just trying to move it a few inches. Use a little bit of extra track.
Yeah, not going to get into the discussion of trying to use the wall to go faster because that's no longer a thing because, well, Ross Chastain happened. Christian Leonard, though, he's amongst those trying the middle line, basically the Keegan-Leahy line, trying to use the bottom line for the left side tires, essentially, while getting the speed from the top on those right sides, so to speak, on that progressive banking.
Yeah, it does look like that bottom seems to be the more preferred line when it comes to what these guys are trying to do to save a little bit of tire here. As you're seeing the majority of the top three, and I would put it even the top four, just running that bottom as much as they can. Because right now, this is Colin Grace and Sam Bolin side by side. Remember, Sam Bolin's a lap down, so that is not a battle for position on track. That is Sam Bolin trying to unlap himself from the 27 of Colin Grace.
Going to take a lot of work, though. He's already a lap plus down, nearly 2 laps down, in fact, with how the pace is going here. Speaking of pace, Matheson is nearly up to the back end of the lead lap. And you can see there's the big difference we were talking about, being able to run the bottom on the short run to mid run compared to the long run if you were to run up on the top of the racetrack. Matheson right now, his pace is up to a 1/10 to 3/10 quicker depending on if there's traffic or not.
Yeah, like I said, that bottom line is by far the most preferred line when it comes to the first, I would say, half of the race. You really don't want to be running that top too often, as it does burn those right side tires off. And if you run it enough and hard enough, it'll start to burn that right rear off even faster, and it'll start to make your car really, really, really loose. And that's not a thing you want at Bristol. Trust me, I know from personal experience, a loose race car is a dangerous race car at Bristol.
By the way, the fastest lap is still by Ennis. That's not a surprise with the top line, but as we've already seen, top line, not necessarily the fastest once you get to about lap 30. Matheson right now has the lead by about 2 seconds. Dylan Benson still in the top 3 of note. And already, 3 cars have fallen a lap down. Here's a look at Benson. A lot more improvement from what we've seen from him getting loose on cold tires to start. He looks a lot more comfortable towards the bottom here.
Yeah, he's running that line you were talking about a little bit earlier, keeping the left sides down in that bottom line and those right sides up in the middle line. That's really seeming to work for him. I'm a bit surprised with how the banking works here at Bristol, about how well that's working, because usually the Xfinity car is not a car that you want to run on the seams with, as it can get really, really loose. But he seems to be making it work, and making it work pretty well, as now he's having to defend from the 18 to 7 Hawthorne in that Kyle Busch M&M's scheme. I said machine for just a second. And yeah, these guys just look like they're trying to figure out what is what when it comes to the Xfinity car, as this car, as I've said multiple times tonight, is a very difficult car to drive, especially at a short track, as things are going to get a little bit tight off of turn 2.
Benson tried to shut the door. The door didn't want to be shut there. Hawthorne up on the outside has the chance to pinch down to the battle for third. Berlin, Connecticut's Benson gets shuffled back by Hawthorne. Of note, one car is down the pit lane. It looks like Brandon Devine may have broke the suspension with all that contact for the 57.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good clip of damage to that 57 machine. Doesn't look like he has much suspension damage, but he may have gotten the come down pit road flag.
Well,
yeah,
the right front, it's absolutely crushed in. It's not mandatory, but it does add up eventually after he hit the wall about 20 times.
Yeah, he did take a fast repair there, so it looks like his machine should be good to go for the rest of the race tonight, but that is definitely going to hurt, especially pitting under green flag at Bristol. Bristol is a track that you want to run as long as possible just to try and get a caution, because if you come down pit road, you're losing upwards of 2, maybe even 3 laps. It is not a fun place to pit under green at. It's one of those tracks that you just cannot pit under green. You have to wait for a caution at all costs.
7 Hawthorne, by the way, you did see made the pass for second. He's now one of the faster cars on the track. Not as quick as Matheson still, who's gotten about 8/10 of fall off. It's about an additional 2/10 back on pace for Hawthorne. pit lane again. And it's Grace this time electing to come down. And remember, with that blue line, they have to roll the full length around. And in turn, Grace is below the speed limit. So this is interesting, only 30 laps in. And a couple drivers are saying, let's pit.
Yeah, that's a bit of an interesting call. I don't think these guys have any fuel limitations when it comes to how much fuel you're able to run in the car. If anything, I believe it's an 80% fuel limitation for these guys, but it's a bit surprising to see pit stops this early into the race, especially at Bristol, while this car is very difficult. And actually, we have a caution on the racetrack.
It's Dylan Benson who goes around, and it's with some contact. Christian Leonard with the bump and run all through 3 and 4. And we're under caution for the second time tonight. Significant damage to a couple cars as a result.
Sam Bowen was almost involved in that once again as well. He's had a bit of a difficult race when it comes to cars spinning in front of him or to the inside of him, and he had to really get on the brakes there to avoid any damage or any further damage for that. So looks like he was able to get through that cleanly. But here you're seeing that was the 19 of Christian Leonard giving the good old bump and run to the 41, just trying to rattle his cage a little bit.
And in turn, it caused a bit of damage, to say the least, for a couple drivers. And also pins drivers like Grace and Divine multiple laps down with the time of the caution. And because Bowen was close to the incident, he doesn't get the lucky dog. Christian Parker does. Yep, that's a bumper. And yep, that's a slide.
Yeah, I believe that Sam Bowen may have gotten if anything, a zero incident point for that. So he's not going to get that lucky dog, as you mentioned. That's going to go to Christian Barker in the 99. So I bet Sam Bowen is kicking himself right now for being even just a tiniest bit involved in that. But as you said, seeing pit stops here from a lot of people, that's pretty much everyone in your top 5, and put that everyone on the lead lap coming down pit road.
This should get everyone good on fuel. From what it says in sim, drivers didn't have the fuel limit applied for tonight. And in turn, the fuel runs can go about 130, 140 laps. It's good to go there. Interesting to note, I'm not sure what's going on next to the pit road. The race off the lane is won this time by Ennis. Matheson losing a couple spots with a few seconds more in the stalls. But Grace is, for some reason, parked out of turn 1. I am not sure what's going on here outside of maybe a in-car emergency without wanting to take the pit stop. Well, somebody's moving the car.
I'm thinking maybe a speeding penalty, or he had to let some people by, would be my guess there.
Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, coming to 100 to go, you're watching action from Bristol for the Touring Kart Championship League.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competitive Zone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to coverage of the Touring Kart Championship League. The Touring Kart Championship, founded in 2021, sanctions competitive go-kart racing and looks to expand the karting community with regularly hosted rental kart, sprint, and endurance races alongside the Northeast Karting Challenge. For more information, visit touringkartchampionship.com and register to compete. Its drivers continue to race around the racetrack. One of the Northeast-based competitors, Jake Matheson, continuing to battle up front. It's Jake Ennis as the leader, though, after Matheson had about a 5-second longer pit stop.
Maybe trying to pack as much fuel as he can into that 99 machine. that pretty much just showed his hand. I think he may be trying to go for the end here. As you said, no fuel limitations for these guys tonight, so they are going to be able to run that full fuel length, which, as you mentioned before the break, should be about 130 laps tonight. And of course, looking at the weather here, 88 degrees on the air temperature with a 91-degree track temp. And knowing Bristol at night, that's a pretty warm track temp, so I think that's why these guys are dealing with some handling issues. Maybe these guys are a little bit looser than what they were expecting.
And in turn, expect the track temperature to rise a fair bit. The track temperatures on the surface, at least currently, can go up to 10 degrees in the course of 30-40 laps at a track like Bristol. Battle for the lead is side by side. You see right now others in the midst of the pack like Leonard trying to fight side by side. It's Matheson using the bottom though. Still not able to get the full rotation around the 25 for the time being. And it's continuing to stay content riding top.
Yeah, we see that he's really, really quick on that top line, but we saw this in the first green flag run. He was really, really quick for about 15, 20 laps, 25 laps at that. And after about that time frame, he just fell off, kind of fell off of a cliff in that 25 machine. So yeah, that top line's not as dominant as we're used to seeing in other series as such with the trucks or maybe even the Cup car. The Cup car really likes the top line here, so I'm surprised that the Xfinity car isn't as dominant with the middle and top lines.
But that's where that major experience again is being utilized up at the front. And I'm very curious, we mentioned the Northeast Connection, for example. If we see Matheson actually race in a go-kart this winter, after all, its winter seasons are getting set to go in the next couple weeks. When you think about it, with all those connections that, when it comes to the real world side, have.
Still watching that. Oh,
I was about to say, let's look at third, because Benson has another car on his bumper.
it looks like that 41's having a bit of a connection issue there. Just one moment, but it looks like 7 Hawthorne's looking ready to take third position from the 41 of Dylan Benson there. And looks like Hawthorne's running that top line as well. So maybe as the sun's starting to go down, that top line's starting to come in a little bit more. So I think we'll have to see how that top line comes in. Of course, I believe Bristol's one of the only 2 or 3 tracks that have the grip adjustments iRacing made to some of the tracks. I know Homestead is the main one that you can run the top line very, very well. I think Bristol was one of them too in one of the earlier updates. Correct me if I'm wrong on that though.
Well, keep in mind, a lot of that's going to become mute in about 24 hours time. Remember, there's an iRacing build tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's that it's phase 1 of the oval refresh, so these guys are going to have a lot harder of a time next week trying to get used to this new build. As still watching this battle for the lead as Matheson just closing in more and more. Looks like he can almost get even with the 25 of Jake Ennis, but he's not really able to get under and around him. So looks like this is, ooh, English, hello. Looks like this is going to be our battle for the lead for the majority of the rest of this race.
Especially since even though the bottom's quicker, it's hard to pass when you get side by side even here, because it takes a few laps to set it up. It takes a few laps and hoping that the driver up top has a bit of a checkup per se to get the pass done, because that ability to pinch on the top. This could be a very tricky spot even for Matheson to get this rotation down for anybody to make the pass here, because they're losing a lot of time doing this.
Yeah, one thing you can do if you're trying to defend on that top line is you can kind of run that middle seam and squeeze the driver on the bottom, and they really can't get any momentum going on that bottom. So I've done that multiple times in multiple different cars, and it's been able to burn the person on the bottom. It's been able to burn their tires off a lot quicker than you running that top line. So that seems to be what we're seeing the 25 of Jake Ennis do. He's trying to squeeze Jake Matheson down just a little bit and try to kind of burn his right front tire off. Oh, he's actually going to get even there. Almost a little bit of contact between the two, and now even side by side for the lead.
And trouble!
Oh, Ennis is around!
From the battle for the race lead, the Red Mist podcast car goes into the wall, and the caution's out for the 3rd time today. Matheson to the point.
I think that just wiped out any and all strategy that we were going to have tonight, as that's going to pretty much destroy any fuel strategy that was even thought about being run tonight. Take a look at the Maconi Entertainment replay here. Just looks like the 25 gets a little bit too high coming off the corner and just sends her for a loop.
There was an apology over the radio, and I quote the driver involved, "I apologize for my stupidity." I wouldn't call that stupidity. I'd call that the battle for the race lead.
Yeah, that was there was no fault involved in that incident. That was purely the 25 at Matheson getting a little bit loose off the corner. Maybe, or wait, no, that wasn't Matheson. That was Ennis. Come on, Nick.
And it looks like Ennis might have to let the field by because it took him some time to get the car rolling. And that's going to mean he might have to take, yes, he will likely have to take the wave around because of the situation here.
Ooh, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion right now. Of note, 7 Hawthorne also has some damage apparently due to an internet issue from Dylan Benson.
Ooh, Netcode making an appearance at Bristol. Name a better duo, Netcode and Bristol. I don't think I can name a better duo than that.
I mean, Bristol's technically a floating void in the middle of the mountaintop, so it happens.
Fair enough.
But either way, while we have the time, I'd like to remind you that tonight's action brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment. Maconi Setup Shop is the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more. The iRacing service. Subscriptions available as low as $8 a month. Once again, Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup shop of eNASCAR and the official series sponsor of the NASCAR C-Fix Series. So drivers getting sorted on how they're lining up here, coming up to the restart pretty soon here. Matheson is still with the race lead. And not only is Ennis pinned a lap down, he is being sorted behind Matheson, which means he's stuck a lap down until the next caution.
Oh man, that is just a gut punch there for the 25. You think you're gonna get the wave around and you get sorted right behind the leader. I've had that happen before, and it is a very infuriating feeling, thinking you're gonna be able to get the wave around and you just end up not getting it at all. So that is going to be a tough thing to come back from for the 25 of Jake Ennis, but he should be able to get that lap back at least, because he seems to be one of the faster cars on track when it comes to overall pace. But then again, it is Bristol and anything can happen here.
It's Bristol, baby. As we get set to go for the restart, they're already bumping bumpers in the battle for the lead, and we haven't even taken the green yet. Christian Leonard trying to say hello to Jake Matheson. It's Matheson and Benson on the front row. Then it's Leonard and Haas up in row 2. Barker and Hawthorne. And then the rest of the drivers behind Sam Bowen are laps down here. So we'll see how they get sorted here. So several of the series veterans for the real life action in TKC. Looking to see if anyone gets TKO'd from the race battle here.
Oh man, that's a comparison I haven't heard before.
Green flag is out, back underway. Inside line has a slower launch behind Matheson. Matheson clear. The battle's on for second.
That battle's between the 41 and the 19. The 41 of Dylan Benson and the 19 of Christian Barker getting up in arms over there. As it looks like that's Christian Leonard in the 19. Apologies. But it looks like Christian Leonard is now under attack from Matt Haas and Seven Hawthorne, who remember pitted under this last caution, so he is on fresh tires. So Seven Hawthorne should be one of the faster cars on track when it comes to overall pace here.
It should be a fun battle to say the very least. With how things are faring down to the halfway point, we'll see who's able to shuffle ahead. Looks like the speed's starting to compress a bit towards what Matheson started off. Already the outside coming into play. Hawthorne wants to jump the queue.
Yeah, Seven Hawthorne on those fresh tires. Almost a little bit of contact between him and the 41 of Benson. But it looks like Hawthorne's going to take it to the outside here. And he should be able to get around this 41 if the 41 doesn't squeeze him into the wall first.
A little bit tricky, but Hawthorne clears. Hawthorne with the fresher tires already is setting the pace.
Still not setting any blazing lap times here, as he's only in the 15.5s and 15.4s right now, but he's still about 0.2 of a second a lap quicker than the 99 of Jake Matheson. Right now, battle for third position between Leonard and Dylan Benson, as it looks like Christian Leonard's going to get around the outside here fairly easily, as 7 Hawthorne almost spins right under Jake Matheson to the 99.
Not used to the bottom. It takes a lot of experience to be used to the marks there. And Hawthorne having to reset here. Falls off a fair bit on the pace. Now trying to keep up as Leonard. Everyone else still on the older tires by about 25 laps is the difference on the rubber. And for Hawthorne, it is a risky play because in theory, he's out of tire sets.
Yeah, I believe it is 3 sets of tires that these guys have, and I don't think Hawthorne has taken that 3rd set. I may be wrong on that, though. But still, he is at a big-time tire disadvantage now, because if they get a late caution here and 7 Hawthorne has run everything he's got out of his tires, then that's going to put him at a big disadvantage, because we know how crazy the end of Bristol races can get. So if Hawthorne only has the 1 set of tires compared to the 2 for the likes of Matheson or Christian Leonard, then that's really going to hurt the chances of the 18, as now he's got a sight set once again on the 99 of Jake Matheson. Matheson starting to run that outside a little bit, so it looks like the bottom is starting to wear off in terms of grip. And now Hawthorne's going to go down, and it looks like Jake Matheson's going to play that squeezing game, squeeze the 18 to 7 Hawthorne down a little bit and try to burn his tires off a little bit quicker.
Side by side for the race lead as Hawthorne tries to find a way to make the poke around. Again, Hawthorne amongst those top 10 of the points so far this season. Has not finished outside the top 5 in his start so far this season. He looks to try and get himself in position for the lead. Side by side to the inside line. Hawthorne with the fresher tires still being squeezed. Matheson trying to keep to the corner panel. But it's Hawthorne with the fresher tires who takes the point.
Now, that may not have seemed like a long time to stick to the outside of the 18 of 7 Hawthorne, but Matheson is going to have an advantage here in about 10 laps, because what he did there is he kept putting the air on the rear end of the 18, which made his car really, really tight, and now Hawthorne is going to have to save his tires like crazy if he's going to want any chance of keeping this advantage he has.
And keep in mind when it comes to Hawthorne, just got things forwarded over from Braden Laster, who's covered much of the season as well. He made a great point when talking about things with him. He mentioned, you know what the average finish for that race leader is? 3rd in this series so far. He's led a lap in every single start this season, including now tonight.
I'll tell you what, that is a very consistent driver in that 18 machine, and that's what you need to have in a league like this, especially with the Xfinity cars, consistency. If you can consistently be in the top 5, consistently be leading laps, there is no doubt in my mind you're going to be a championship favorite at the end of the season. And 7 Hawthorne is putting himself in perfect position here, and if he can keep this car straight and this car and the tires on this car, he should be in a very, very good hot seat to win this race tonight. As coming up on 60 laps to go here, that 18 to 7 Hawthorne has pulled about a 1.5 seconds over the 99 of Jake Matheson.
Keep in mind, Dylan Benson was amongst those in the conversation about for the lead earlier as well. He's dropped back all the way to 4th for reference, 5 seconds behind. And he was in contention for the last victory at short track in North Wilkesboro. He had several late race incidents to end off that respective race. Yet to get a top 10 this season. He's been in the top 5 most of the night, even with the technical issues, trying to prevent him to do that.
Yeah, Dylan Benson, he's been one of the more consistent guys tonight. He's really been just sitting around that fourth, fifth position. Like, as you said, even with the connection issues, he seems to be trying to stay in it and trying to stay consistent. As Christian Leonard gets into the wall in turns, I believe that's turn 3 and 4 there. Yeah, that was. He got into the wall pretty hard there. He's going to lose about 1.5 seconds to the 41 of Dylan Benson.
Still holding on for the time being by a few seconds. Sam Bowen, meanwhile, he's still trying to find a way to recover from some of the earlier incidents. So far, he's made every single start. And as talked about, entered tonight with that points lead in 6 races, an average finish of 6.1. He's on the average He's in 6th.
Yeah, he is back on the lead lap too, so it looks like he may have fought back from that earlier incident. But now he's got to figure out a way to get back up into that battle for the lead, or battle for the podium, I should say, as he was sitting up in about 3rd position when he did get spun earlier on. But again, he has to figure out a way to fight back up into that position, as he's losing about 2 or 3 seconds a lap compared, or not 2 or 3 seconds, excuse me, about a half a second a lap compared to 7 Hawthorne.
Already quick, coming up to 50 to go, by the way. As you can see, some of the drivers laps down are trying to find a way to get unlapped the old-fashioned way, including Ennis. Right now, he is amongst those still on the older tires from the spin earlier, and able to not clear by the 5th place car, despite all the best efforts so far. Not a surprise, because again, you're a lead lap car. You don't want to get passed by a lap car, no matter the pace. Although, it's not going to be easy to defend when you hit the wall like that.
Yeah, looking back up towards our lead in 7 Hawthorne, he's starting to even out a little bit with the 2nd place car of Jake Matheson. His last lap there being a 16.055 compared to Matheson's 2.32. So that time gap is starting to come down. Not as aggressive as we first thought, but still keep an eye on this, as it looks like Matheson is really saving his tires and starting to even out with the 18 at Hawthorne.
You see those conditions surprisingly not as hot as you would think. We've seen the grip go very hot before here. Not sure it's with the car count or just with the weather conditions themselves. Was expecting to get a lot more rubber buildup and a lot more temperature by this point.
Yeah, it is definitely because of the car count. 10 cars compared to 35 cars running around Bristol is a huge difference. And you know, Bristol is just such a fun track when it comes to these lower car counts, because you can just run laps. Bristol is one of those tracks that you can just run laps and lose track of time. It's one of my favorite tracks just to run laps and like time trials or test drives, and purely because of how fun it is. No matter what car you drive, you're gonna have fun at Bristol when you're solo.
Continuing a lap through the field is 7 Hawthorne. Near contact from 5th place. Matt Haas able to hold on to it though. Despite the near contact, able to keep the grip into things. Now looking to lap Ennis a 2nd time this race. That's not looking good for the 25. Of note, Grace again is electing to pit. Same for Boland. They are only 6 laps
we
in.
got big wreck on the front stretch.
Caution flag is out right in front of the leader. It's contact with the 99. Christian Barker going around. That's off the door of lead lap car Dylan Benson. We're under caution again.
Oh man, Dylan Benson slapped the wall coming off of turn 4, and the 99 of Christian Barker was just a bystander in that whole thing. Take a look at the replay here. Exactly what I said. The 41 just slaps the wall, and yeah, man, you hate to see it for Christian Barker in that 99.
And just nowhere to go with the wall slap from Benson. A very bad timing, though, for drivers like Boland, who, for some reason, elected to pit after 60 laps, despite the fact they could make it on fuel. And instead, they pinned themselves 3 laps down. We're under caution again. Under 50 to go. You're watching Maconi Entertainment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the Touring Kart Championship League. Here at Maconi Entertainment, Justin Prince next time with you. DJ Lyon is your producer as we currently make our way to 40 laps to go. Several drivers trying to come in and out and try some different things here. Matt Haas electing to go to the back of the lead lap. Ennis getting the wave around. Somehow also managed to take tires before this restart sequence. Oh, and the lights are still out, not out on the pace car. There they go, in fact, as several of the wave around cars try and sort themselves out here. So it's Matheson up in the lead once again after the pit stop sequence. Hawthorne lost the lead after losing a 2.5 seconds in the pit lane.
That's got to be a difference. Oh, no. I don't know why that would have happened. I was going to say that's got to be a difference in fuel between Jake Matheson and Seven Hawthorne. But then I remembered Hawthorne pitted way after Matheson did. So I'm unsure as to why Seven Hawthorne would have lost that much time. But that's the difference between first and second at Bristol. Come on now.
It's time to get back underway. Hawthorne not lined up side by side. Lose the lead and then some. Matheson takes the point. And already some tight squeezes in the battle for second.
Coming up off the corner, Hawthorne's going to get a really good run. Christian Barker trying to fight back on that inside, but that outside is just way too powerful now on the fresh tires. And now Hawthorne setting his sights on the 99 and Jake Matheson. He's got a pretty good lead going so far, about 0.5 seconds between himself and Seven Hawthorne, but that gap's going to close pretty quickly with Seven Hawthorne running that outside compared to Matheson on the inside. But then again, we are within 40 laps to go, so these guys are probably going to be pushing a little bit harder now, knowing they are in the final run of this race. And while tire saving is still kind of important here, all bets are off when it comes to inside 50 to go at Bristol.
Near contact behind, meanwhile, Benson getting very tight with Haas. That's currently the battle with the back. Benson slid up out of 4 and nearly turned himself across the 8. Now we know he turned himself again.
Things are getting chippy between these two. These guys are up, down, left, right, north, south, east, west with each other coming up off the corners here. As that was them getting really loose back off the rear bumper of the 99 of Matheson. Just seeing how big that gap is. He's pulled out a pretty good gap here, about 0.8 seconds. So it looks like Matheson has finally let go of the sandbags and is really showing what kind of pace he can get out of that 10 machine.
Now the surprised to see him be a rocket ship here on pace. Was that a bit of a wall hit there for the 25 from that jet out? Don't think so, but it's Leonard battling. Now it's Haas going around. That was coming off of Benson. Caution.
Ugh, that was... I want to see how that started, but that looks like things got a little bit heated between the 41 and the 8. Take a look at the replay. Ooh, things get a little tight off of turn 4. It looks like the 41... Oh.
I mean, the main discussion point over the radio was, I was already at your door. There's a point to that, though, is there?
Yeah. That's iffy. I gotta get a... Can we get another angle of that? I want to see like a different angle of how that transpired. Because it looks like Haas may have stuck it in a little bit aggressively going into the corner there. And Benson just tried to squeeze him. We see that happen off of turn 4 and then going down into the corner. Yeah, the 8's there and it just looks like Benson squeezes him onto the apron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to put that on the 41 there.
Yeah, there was definitely a car there. You're right on that. But in turn, that brings out the caution with under 30 laps to go. Now on the board, coming in this time by.
Yeah, that's gonna oh, hello. I'm stuttering like a I'm stuttering big time right now. But what I was getting ready to say is, within 30 to go, that's when things get really crazy, especially with a caution. Inside 50, all bets are off. But there's not another saying that I can use for how crazy this is going to get within 30 to go, because these guys, as I said, within 50, you know you're getting close to the end, but now within 30, it's do or die time when it comes to Bristol.
Wave around, by the way, this time going to Grace, it looks like. One of the wave rounds, at least. Bolin did get the lucky dog officially. 2 drivers are out of the race, and Barker and Devine. The rest of the field is still in it. But it becomes the question, can anybody pass Jake Matheson?
I'm going to go ahead and say no for now, because we saw just a little bit of an inkling of what kind of pace that 99 machine has on that last run that we had there, as his fastest lap time was about a 1/10.5 quicker than anyone else on track. So I think this race is Jake Matheson's to lose. He's got to figure out a way to keep 7 Hawthorne behind him and figure out a way to keep pulling that gap, because he pulled it out to about a second there before that caution came out. So it looks like Matheson has the pace. He just got to figure out a way to keep 7 Hawthorne behind him.
It's still on top of the iRacing pace car. Remember, the next time out for these drivers, it's Circuit of the Americas, interesting enough, Nick. That should be a fun one. That's a bit more up to the speed of what you would see for the series in real life. Go-kart racing on road courses. Why not sim racing on a road course?
Tell you what, Coda's one of my favorite tracks, so I'm definitely excited for that one. I really enjoy racing at Coda. It's probably one of my favorite tracks on the service when it comes to the difficulty and how precise you need to be at that track. I absolutely love Coda. I cannot wait for that.
In turn, just about all set for the restart. Hawthorne trying to get a bit of heat warmed up on that outside line in the marbles. And he's not lined up to Matheson's bumper again for the second straight restart. Matheson has an easy path, able to take the race lead into 1 already. And up to the top this time goes Matheson.
Matheson's starting to use that top line. We really haven't seen that much from the 99 machine, but he's starting to get up there and show these boys how it works on that top line. So to see what kind of times he runs there, it's a 15.7 on the first lap. So that just shows you how fast that top can be if you use it right. But it looks like Hawthorne's just trying to keep up with him now. He's just getting a little bit loose off the corners there for just a moment, looking out the front end of Matt Haas here in that 3rd position. And that's Christian Leonard. He's got the popcorn seat right now for this battle in front of him.
Leonard wanting to keep to the bottom of the racetrack. Right now, back up to the top again is Innes. We've seen that line has just not worked past a few laps in compared to the bottom. But Leonard is amongst those now sliding to the middle, trying to get some squeezes down on the 25.
Yeah, that middle line isn't as good as we thought either. I fully expected that middle line to be the preferred line tonight, but it looks like that bottom has just been way too good for how the tires wear with this Xfinity car. And yeah, we're really seeing that's where all the passes have been made, as Leonard's going to get a little bit tight there off of turn 4.
Trying to send it there, doesn't work there. Coming up to 20 laps to go. Leonard in turn loses a lot of ground. Hawthorne. He's sticking to the outside, though, trying to find a way to get to Matheson. Matheson, keep in mind, is quicker by a few hundredths a lap right now, however. And he's been the quickest on the long run all night long. It's not going to be an easy task unless he finds a way to magically find some speed.
Yeah, that's the hard part about Bristol. You know there's a little bit of time left in this race, but you got to figure out how to bridge that gap, and it feels like an impossible task, especially at Bristol. But if you can manage to do it, it is such a gratifying feeling to be able to pull in a few tenths of a second over someone you know is faster than you and has shown that he is faster than you over the race. And it looks like that's what Seven Hawthorne's plan is right now. He's looking to try and bridge that gap, try and do anything he can to pull that gap down to where he could be within dive bomb range. Now remember, dive bomb range at Bristol is about 0.3 of a second. If you send it in hard enough, you should be able to get under another car and maybe have a chance at getting a pass off. But and again, it is Bristol, and we've seen how that happens sometimes.
Here's a look from Ennis, currently in the 3rd spot after being in 2nd much of the race tonight. So far, 21 laps led for the Unster from New York State. Still not able to chip into the gap to Hawthorne. Right now, he's only a couple hundreds at best quicker with 15 laps to go.
He's starting to use that top line just a little bit, trying to bridge that gap, and it looks like it's working on entry, but it just looks like Hawthorne has the exit down. I say that, and he taps the wall off of turn 4 there. It's going to lose him a little bit of time to the 25 at Ennis. It's going to lose him a lot of time to the 99 at Matheson, who's just kind of put an iron death grip on the lead right now as the gap's sitting just over a second.
Down to 13 laps to go that time by the stripe, by the way. Matheson now checking out by more than a second. And for the most part, the drivers settling into their main spots to finish things out here tonight. For some of the drivers, keep in mind, it's been the battle of trying to recover from lots of trouble. We've seen that from Bowen. We've seen that from Haas already. We've seen that from Benson in his fight with his internet provider. It's been an interesting race overall.
Yeah, that goes to my point I made earlier in this race. Bristol's all about survival. There's a lot of factors that go into surviving a race at Bristol, whether it be wrecks in front of you, wrecks behind you that somehow you get involved in, fights with other drivers, fights with internet even. It's all about survival at Bristol. Anything you can do to help your chances at surviving is a big time help in trying to finish a race at Bristol, especially in these longer races. I mean, granted, 150 laps at Bristol is not really that long of a race, but when you start to get into those 300, 400 lap range races, yeah, surviving is the key. Surviving that first half of the race is the key. And, you know, that's something you can take into a lot of other races. It's just survival. Survival of the fittest is how you win races.
Down to under 10 laps to go in this race, meanwhile. Matheson still up by now more than 2 seconds. Ennis trying to find a way to chip the gap down, but you know who is chipping this gap down in this pack? Dylan Benson yet again. Benson last time by 2 tenths quicker than second place Hawthorne, and Hawthorne's getting close to the wall again.
Looks like we're going to have a 3 peas in a pod battle here for the final 5 laps of this race as Hawthorne's really starting to fall off. Here comes Jake Ennis now. We saw him falling off a little bit, but it looks like he may have been saving his tires in preparation for an attack. Dylan Benson's going to get to the outside. Contact into the inside wall. Jake Ennis hard into the outside wall once again.
No caution yet. We stay green. Ennis wants a caution. That's not going to be a yellow since he didn't spin it out. Dylan Benson yet again has an incident. Now the caution's out for that caution and for that flare of an incident, rather.
Oh, man, that's another... Oh. That's on Benson right there. That was a very aggressive move. Granted, it is within 6 or 7 laps to go, but there wasn't a gap there. There was not a gap there.
So Dylan Benson, the 2-time pole sitter in TKC competition in real life, with hard contact yet again off the corner. He's not making a lot of friends in the virtual world today, but at least he is a multiple-time pole sitter in real life racing for TKC.
Tell you what, that wreck that Ennis had, oh man, look at the front end of that car, absolutely destroyed. Just gonna tap it into the wall just for good measure once again. But like I said, that's one of those wrecks where you're glad it's not real life, because that one looked like it would have hurt.
Keep in mind, there are 2 faster pairs available, and it looks like he's going to have to take one here. So we'll see how this flares out and fares out to end. Looks like a couple drivers did have tire sets available. Christian Leonard coming in, Matt Haas coming in, staying out for track position with a tire set to spare still. Jake Matheson not a surprise because we're looking at green, white, checkered.
I was just getting ready to say your top 3 stayed out there before you mentioned it, and that is, I believe, Matheson out of those 3 is the only one with a spare set of tires left to use. So I think if we get another caution, we may actually, as I say that, looks like 7 Hawthorne. Oh no, he was just faking pit road. Man, he faked me out too.
So the pit service quickly complete. It looks like Ennis is now in the pit box, and well, the youngster, from what all I'll say on the radio is he was not happy after what happened, for obvious reason. But for Matheson, it's going to be the tough part, holding on for 2 more laps. The bright side is the drivers on fresh tires will have to start 5th on back. That's not any time, really, to pass 4 cars.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tough, but Jake Ennis has really shown that short run speed. Granted, he will have to start about 7th position, so he's got some work to do, but he does have that short run speed in that 25, but you and I are both saying it right now. It is going to be very difficult to be able to do that.
Of note, on the lead lap for the first time in a long while is Grace. The 27 has now picked up enough waiver rounds to be in contention. Unfortunately for the 27, they may or may not be out of tire sets as well. They haven't pit in 48 laps.
That's going to hurt. Yeah, that's going to be tough for the 27 of Colin Grace, but if things do go sideways for some of the field, there is some positions to gain for the 27. Not saying it's going to happen, but I mean, there's still a chance.
So the first of 3 green, white, checker attempts available. If we get the white flag and take said white flag, it's a race to the checkered, as simple as that. If we have an incident before said white flag and drivers take the white flag, we'll get another attempt. What will happen here in the matter of about a mile, plus Matheson in control, Hawthorne on the outside. Hawthorne, the most lined up he's been on a restart all day, and he jumps it. Hawthorne jumps it, black flag, and that causes a crash for 3rd. Into the wall goes Benson and Leonard. No caution yet as Matheson makes his way at a 2.
Hawthorne would not have gotten a black flag because he wasn't ahead of the leader at the finish line, but still, look at this, Jake Ennis. Caution. He got up into 2nd right before that caution came out. Jake Ennis is back in with a chance at this race.
Caution flag indeed is out. Ennis on fresh tires has a shot. And the reason for the black flag in sim, it's not the line, Nick, it's the restart zone. The leader has to be the first to accelerate.
Oh, wow.
Dylan Benson said, wow, upside down indeed.
Okay, well that happened. As you were saying, though, it was the restart. I forgot that these guys had the restart zone in play. Oh man, look at this hit for Dylan Benson. Oh.
Race control has cleared it for Hawthorne, but he's still in 3rd for the restart. But Benson outright demolished there, and because he had to take the toe out of contention, Leonard also has mandatory damage repairs. They're also needing to let the pace car go. Now, again, the reason for the caution before they got to the white flag, Benson was upside down, as we've seen, out of turn 2. That would have been a very bad spot if you had cars upside down.
Yeah, I would go ahead and say that. Just a car upside down in general is a really bad spot. But yeah, caution on the racetrack. That's going to allow these guys to hit their 2nd green-white checkered attempt. Now, remember, 3 green-white checkered attempts for these guys. So if they do run into that 3rd green-white checkered and then have another caution, this race will finish under caution. So these guys are, as I said, on their 2nd attempt out of 3.
So again, they'll regroup here. So what do you do if you're Ennis here? Because you've got 40 laps just about difference on tires here. We've seen how big the difference is with 25. Can Jake do this is the big question. Or rather, how does he do this?
With the tires being this different, in terms of laps run on them. It's going to be about patience for the 25 of Ennis. Of course, that outside line has not gotten good restarts all night. It's almost a given that you're not really going to get that good of a restart, but knowing you have the fresher tires, you have to be patient. You know that the 99 of Matheson's going to jump this restart. You know 7 Hawthorne's going to be right there, right behind him on this restart. So you have to be patient, and knowing you're fast on the top line, I would stick to the top line as long as possible. If Matheson goes up to block, you take it to the inside and give him the old switcheroo. So I think Jake Ennis has a very, very good shot at winning this race. He just has to be patient.
Just about set for green, white, checkered number 2. And this is on the outside. Matheson in control. Green flags out. Let's try this again. Much cleaner on this restart. Ennis trying the top on the fresher tires. They're nearly stacking up for third.
Going into turn 3, it looks like the 99 of Matheson takes it to the top line. Ennis looks to the bottom. White flag in the air for the 99 at Jake Matheson through turns 1 and 2. He's got to defend as hard as possible from the 25 coming off the backstretch.
Here we go for the race win. Ennis on the inside looking for back-to-back wins. Matheson on debut hits the wall. Contact to the drag race. It's Ennis. Jake Ennis gets it by 1/1000th of a second as Matheson puts his car in the wall. Well, that was a bit dramatic. Are you okay, Nick?
No, I'm speechless right now. I don't know what to say. One of the closest finishes we've seen comes at Bristol, 1/1000th of a second. Just for reference, a blink of an eye is just over 0.2 of a second. That's how close that was.
Jake Ennis off and celebrating to say the very least. What a way to finish this out after the caution and after the fresh tires. Let's take a look. And this is coming to the white flag. Talk us through it.
Yeah, this is coming up off of turn number 2. These guys are side by side battling for the lead. Jake Ennis is going to send it to the inside here, and that's the move of the race right there. Sending it in as deep as he could, because Matheson, you knew Matheson was going to get the run off the corner. Jake Ennis had to send it in as deep as he could on that inside to have any sort of a chance, and Matheson, that is what won the 25 of Ennis that race, is Jake Matheson hitting the wall like he did, because if Matheson doesn't hit that wall, the 99 wins this race. For sure, if Jake Matheson does not hit the wall there, the 99 wins.
An absolutely incredible finish. And the Polish victory lap still underway for Jake Ennis. And a wild finish. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results. Ennis gets it by 1/1000th of a second over Matheson. Then it's Matt Haas in third. Leonard graced the top 5. Sam Bowen in 6th. 7 Hawthorne in 7th. Benson finishes 6 laps down in 8th after being upside down during one of the green-white checkers. Barker and Devine also do not finish. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll discuss things with some of the drivers. You're watching Maconi Entertainment for coverage of the Touring Kart Championship League.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
How about that finish? Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment for coverage of the Touring Kart Championship League. Justin Prince, Nick Stein with you, DJ Line producing. It's time to discuss things with some of your top drivers after what was a wild finish to tonight's action here in TKC competition. Jake Ennis comes back, gets fresh tires on it after a big crash that sparks a green-white checkered finish, and in turn, he pulls off the victory in a drag race down the final straightaway. Jake, back-to-back wins. You do this one in style.
Thank you. I was not expecting to win today after my my mishap I had in turn 4. I was a lap down, ran a ton of laps, was just saved by almost getting lapped by 7, and I just had luck on my side today. There was that wreck on that restart. I just Days of Thundered it and somehow got up to second and had a good battle for the win with Jake, funny enough. And I feel bad for him. He had that one in the bag, but I was trying my absolute hardest. I raced him clean, but I had a great race with him.
In turn, obviously, but one of the big questions again comes down to the racing lines tonight. And for much of the night, you seem committed to the top. We've seen over the years the bottom is the preferred line for the short run, for saving tires for the mid run. So what came down to the lines you were choosing throughout the night, and in turn trying to learn from said lines the night progressed?
Well, I was really watching Jake. He was on a whole nother level. I was trying my hardest to keep up with him, and yeah, like you said, he was running the bottom, and it was hard to keep up once the tires started to wear out. Seven, Dylan, Christian, they were all catching up to me, and I was just like thinking to myself, what have I done? But thankfully, I learned from that, saved my tires more as the race progressed, and was able to figure it out. But it didn't really matter at the end, considering we just had a couple dashes to the finish.
So in turn, the next time out for the series is a road course. How's your road course racing skills in the virtual world is the big question.
Well, they're you know, road course is not my best to race on, but I guess we'll find out with these Xfinity cars. You know, every car is different. I really like to race the Dwyer R18s with TKC. They have another league on Thursdays, and not really the best at that. But maybe with these Xfinity cars at a road course, maybe I could figure something out.
Once again, Jake, congratulations on the victory here tonight in turn. Congratulations on back-to-back wins.
Thank you.
Jake Ennis coming away with the victory here tonight. He does it by 1/1000 of a second. No Jake Matheson available here tonight, but we do have third place. Matt Haas is with Nick Stein.
Matt Haas, Nick Stein up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
One of the closest finishes I think I have ever seen at Bristol, and you come away with third position after how wild that last lap was. Talk us through what was going through your mind, because I believe you were sitting 5th at the white flag and you end up 3rd. What's running through your head right now?
I'm just speechless. I don't know what. I'm like you guys. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it was quite a interesting finish, let's say. And yeah, I can't thank you guys for hosting this. It wouldn't have been a pleasure, and it's definitely a pleasure doing it. I don't know how I managed to get through all of that, but it felt pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was just an absolutely amazing race, and you really can't write a script up better than that. And man, looking ahead to next week at Circuit of the Americas, how are you feeling? It's a road course in the Xfinity car. The Xfinity car is known for being tricky at road courses. What's your mindset heading into next week?
All you have to do is just practice. That's what you just got to do at these Xfinity cars, and just hope for the best.
Well, man, yeah, absolutely insane race tonight. Before we let you go, is there anyone you got to thank? Who gets it done for you every week?
Oh man, there's a lot of people that I like to thank. Everybody who races at TKC and Maconi's, they provide a great stream for us here at TKC. yeah, that's everybody at TKC. Guys saw an amazing finish, and hopefully we're going to do it one at Delaware on Sunday, December 10th. There will be a couple spots available still. If you guys are interested, please let me know on Discord. So yeah, just have fun. That's all we do.
Well, congratulations on the P3 tonight, Matt Haas. We'll go ahead and let you go celebrate.
All right, thank you.
Once again, that is Matt Haas coming away with the top three. I'd like to thank him and Jake Ennis for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. And remember, the next time out for these drivers, it's Circa the Americas, Monday, December the 11th. That start time approximately 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in then. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. We'd like to thank our race sponsor, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our broadcast partner, the Touring Kart Championship. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside Nick Stein, in the booth with DJ Lyon producing. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for next race. Thanks to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This is production Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.